Trusting God with your finances. For this video, I'll be using Good News Bible just for reference purposes. So I came across Malachi chapter 3 verse 6 to 12 and it blew my mind. Why I love Good News Bible is that it explains like the title and everything. So the title is The Payment of Tithes. Malachi chapter 3 verse 6 says, I am the Lord and I do not change. And so you, the descendants of Jacob, are not yet completely lost. You, like your ancestors before you, have turned away from my laws and have not kept them. Turn back to me, and I will turn back to you. But you ask, what must we do to turn back to you? I ask you, is it right for a person to cheat God? Of course not. Yet you are cheating me. How, you ask, in the matter of tithes and offerings? A curse is on all of you, because the whole nation is cheating me. Bring the full amount of your tithes to the temple, so that there will be plenty of food there. Verse 10. This is God saying, put me to the test, and you will see that I will open the windows of heaven and pour out on you in abundance all kinds of good things. I will not let insects destroy your crops, and your grapevines will be loaded with grapes. Then the people of all nations will call you happy, because your land will be a good place to live in. One thing for sure is that God never changes. And He said in His word that even if heaven and earth will pass away, His word remained the same. So this is God still saying to us in Malachi. Malachi chapter 3 verse 6 down to 12. He said we should put Him to the test. And then He listed all the blessings that He's going to bless us with. This is me encouraging you in this video to give 1/10 of what you have to God. From the blessings that God has blessed you with, even if you ain't 10,000, give 1,000. If you can't give God 1,000 from 10,000, do you think if you have 1 million, do you think you can give God 100,000? So from the little you have, give God and He will bless you with more. Let us take this literal and try out and see what God will do. Let us try and give God 1/10 of what we have and see what God will give us in return. And give in with faith. And let us see what God will do for us. How do we give these tithes and where do we give these tithes? So I'm going to be reading the book of Deuteronomy chapter 14. Deuteronomy 14 verse 22, and it says, the law of tithes. Set aside a tithe, and then what is a tithe? Explained. A tenth of all that your fields produce each year. But then this is like in the Old Testament. But then for us, it is 1/10 of what we owe. Be it you have a business, be it that you work a 9 to 5, or be it you're a content creator, it is 1/10 of all that God has given you. And then it said 1/10 of all that your field produces each year. Then it said, then go to the place where the Lord your God has chosen to be worshipped, or go to where the Lord has chosen. Like I think in those days, they usually go to like Bethel, like where the ark of God is. But now we can go to like the churches where we worship. And there in His presence, eat the tithes of your corn, wine, and olive oil, and the firstborn of your cattle and sheep. And then it said, do this so that you may learn to honor the Lord your God always. You can read down to 29, but then towards the end, it said, do this, and the Lord your God will bless you in everything you do. God is not a greedy God. God does not want to take from us or wants to rob from us. God wants us to trust Him with what He has given us. It's like a child that is being given maybe a pack of biscuits, and the person who gives the child the biscuit, let me say your mother or your father, gives you a pack of biscuits, and then you're eating the biscuits, and your parent or the person who has given it to you asks you to give him one from that biscuit, and you're being stingy with it. Do you know how it feels? This is God saying to give back. And then most of the tithes that God, like most of the money God has said we should give back to Him, it is not even going to Him. It is for the priests, for the widows, the orphans. This is where the money is going to. If you read Deuteronomy chapter 26, Deuteronomy 26 verse 12 says, it says, every third year, give the tithes, a tenth of your crops to the Levites, the foreigners, the orphans, and the widows, so that in every community they will have all they need to eat. When you have done this, said to the Lord, none of the sacred tithe is left in my house. I have given to the Levites. Then verse 15 said, look down from your holy place in heaven and bless your people Israel. Bless also the rich and fertile land that you have given us, as you promised our ancestors. So God is encouraging us to trust Him with what He has given us, with our blessings. We should trust Him with our tithes. So you watching this video, I'm encouraging you to put God to the test. As He had said, not my own word, God's own word, and give one tenth of what you have. And where can you do this? You can give this in the place where you worship. And then when you give your tithes, don't worry about what the priests they are using it for. Don't worry about what your pastors are using it for. Make sure you've done your own part by giving. I think when we now start to focus on what the priest or who we give the tithe to, the church that we give the tithe to, what they are doing with it, that is when it becomes a problem. Because God, who has put in our hearts and who has instructed us to give one tenth of what we have to the church, will also instruct them on what to do with it. I think last two Sundays the reading was about the prophet, one prophet in the Bible. Please pardon me, I'm going to insert it on the screen. So this man brought the first fruit of his crops, and I think there was hunger in the land at that time. And then when he brought one tenth of what he had, the priest instructed that it should be given to the people, to the men there who were hungry, and he blessed it, and God multiplied what was given. So do you think that God does not care about you or your finances or what you eat? Let me take you back to Exodus. In Exodus 16, verse 29, the Israelites were hungry, and God sent manna from the sky to feed them. Do you think that God who did that does not care about you? Does not care about what you eat, about the water you drink? Do you think that God does not care about your well-being? God does. He cares about you and He wants the best for you. That's how God cares about each and every one of us. He wants the best for us. But then from that full loaf that God has given to you, are you willing to give Him a slice from that loaf? I see tithes more as trusting God with what you have, trusting God with your finances, trusting God with what He has given you. So there's something I like to do. Like for me now, I'm a business person, and then every sale I make, I write it down in a book. Then if you have a spreadsheet, you can use a spreadsheet so that it will be easy for you to calculate. So when you make sales, you minus like expenses like delivery, you minus packaging supply, like you minus your expenses, and then what is left is your profit. That's how I do mine. I don't know, this is like my own personal like suggestion. So since I run a business, every sale I make, I write it, and then I subtract the expenses, and then the profit which I make, I give one tenth of what I have to God. There was a time when I used to give a fixed amount regardless of what I earn, whether I earn more or whether I earn less, because it was hard for me to calculate. But now I'm learning to like calculate every single sale I make and give one tenth of what I have to God. It is not easy. Let me read Malachi again to you. So now God is saying that I am the Lord and I do not change. And so you, the descendants of Jacob, we are the descendants of Jacob. Each one of us, we are the descendants of Jacob. We are not completely lost. Like your ancestors before you, you have turned away from my laws and have not kept them. Most of us have turned away from God and we've not kept His commandments and His laws. God is now saying, turn back to me and I will turn back to you. God is saying to us Nigerians, God is saying to us Africa, God is saying to the whole world that we should turn back to Him. And then it said, but you ask, what must we do to turn back to you? And then God asks us, I ask you, is it right for a person to cheat God? Of course not. Yet you are cheating me. How, you ask? In the matter of tithes and offering. A curse is on all of you because the whole nation is cheating me. Bring the full amount of your tithes to the temple, so that there will be plenty of food there. It is in the temple, because most times people see church as where people who are in need can come, the widows, the orphan, where they can come and they'll see plenty of food to eat. And then God is saying, okay, let's say if everybody bring one tenth of what they have to the church, and then the church gives that one tenth of what the people have brought, and then gives to the widows, to the orphan, and they use for their well-being as well, do you think that don't you think that there will be less hunger in the land? I personally think so. If we sincerely give God one thing and if we do not cheat God. And then he said, put me to the test. You watching this, put God to the test. And you will see that I, God, will open the windows of heaven and pour out on you in abundance all kinds of good things. God is saying, I will not let insects destroy your crops. For me, a business person, I will not let your goods to go missing. I will not let you to receive like misplaced or spoiled packages. And then he's saying, and your grapevines will be loaded with grapes. Then the people of all nations will call you happy because your land will be a good place to live in. So let's try this and let's take this literal. Let's put God to test and let's give one tenth of what we have. This is the 2nd of August. So let's try this. Let's give one tenth of what we have to God and let's see what God will do for us. Let's put him to the test. So I'm encouraging you and everyone who is watching this video. God is saying that we are cheating him. We are not giving him fully one tenth of what he has given to us. If you work a 9 to 5, remove your taxes, remove maybe taxes and every other thing, and then what you have as yours, give one tenth of it to God. Give it to the place where you worship and watch God bless you. So I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Always remember that it is the will of God that we live and we serve in life.